opinion, obviously she reports to the Prime Minister, so my opinion is just as a commentator. I'm just giving you my opinion. If you read the report, the report of the State Department of the United States, Jamaica's largest trade and largest financial partner, says that there is corruption associated with the processing of the extradition request that she is responsible for.
Potential corruption, it says so. It says potential corruption.
No, it doesn't say potential corruption. It equates the depth of corruption in the government
It says
with the
potential
delay
for the depth of corruption.
with the delay of the request. It equates corruption and the delay of the request. You can try to insert potential, soften it.
No, they did insert potential.
The way in which it is written makes it quite clear that the State Department believes that corruption is associated with the delay. And do you have any doubt about that? If you read it properly, you wouldn't. Now, having regard to that, I think that if you use the Perfumer principle of cabinet responsibility, she should resign. I'm not saying that she is responsible. I'm sure she's been bullied into inaction by other political forces. But I think that she should resign because she's being prevented from doing the right thing. And in that situation, she should resign.
Do you think the Prime Minister should resign?
I think the Prime Minister should call an election because of the enormity and gravity of the current situation that the country is in and the report. I think that having regard to the seriousness of the crisis, under the doctrine of collective cabinet responsibility under the Westminster model, that he should call an election, or that the opposition should call for a vote of no confidence, having regard to what I consider this situation to be and the gravity of it. But certainly the fact that the Ministry of National Security and the Ministry of Justice have been divided, I think has been a problem. I do not believe that a non-attorney should, I don't believe that it is practical to have a Ministry of National Security and a Ministry of Justice that operate independently. I think that they should be merged, and that the person who is the head of that ministry, which really in the old days would have been the Home Office or the equivalent to the Home Office, should be an attorney. Because it is surprising to me that the individual who was the spokesperson for the opposition on legal affairs when the GLP was in opposition as Delroy Chuck was not the Minister of Justice. Very surprising. But
you think he would have signed this extradition request if he was?
I think so. That's just my personal speculation. I don't know, but I think so. And generally, the person who ought to be Attorney General is somebody who needs to tell the cabinet what the law is, not to rubber stamp the cabinet's political viewpoint or the cabinet's political direction. The Attorney General is somebody who needs to be able to hold up a hand and say, "Stop, fellows," or "Stop, gentlemen or ladies, this is not legal. We need to review this situation or bring it in conformity with law." And the Attorney General, in my view, needed to have the political will and courage to tell this cabinet that they're violating the law with their current method of not complying with the extradition request from the United States. Had that occurred, we would not be in this crisis now.
The Prime Minister has said that if the Attorney General had signed, knowing that the evidence obtained was obtained unlawfully, she would also have to sign her resignation as well.
Well, again, I do not, with great respect to the Prime Minister, I do not give any credibility at all to his legal analysis. That's my personal evaluation. And as I explained to you earlier, there is a huge amount of evidence that he would have to ignore before the type of analysis that he has brought forward would bear any jurisprudential strength whatsoever.
But going back to what you said, you made a pretty interesting, and some would even say, well, a monumental statement earlier when we spoke about the Prime Minister should call elections and call fresh elections, and the opposition should call for it or for a vote of no confidence. But some would argue that the opposition, PNP, is in no better position, certainly no better moral position to call for this, because it is also, both major political parties are pretty much sullied by the same kind of problems in terms of being aligned, at least the perception is, of being aligned to Dons.
But again, this is not being aligned to Dons. It's an extradition request, and
but
I don't know.
Because the State Department report says that they're intimating that Dudus is not being extradited because of his links. They call him a crime lord who has powerful links to the ruling Jamaica Labour Party.
Yes.
So wouldn't the intimation be that the issue of connection to Dons, or at least the perception of connection to Dons, is the real issue here, and the PNP has no moral authority to speak on it either? That's what the view that many persons have.
You're making the statement that the PNP has...
I'm saying that's the view that many persons have. How would you contend with that view?
Well, it appears to me that the PNP, when they were in power, granted all the extradition requests through Minister Peter Phillips that were placed before him. And I know as a fact that Minister Peter Phillips worked very closely with both the Justice Department and the State Department to develop a regime of close cooperation between the law enforcement, the U.S. law enforcement and the Jamaican law enforcement teams. In fact, there were times when I thought that the relationship under the Peter Phillips regime was too close. I was one of those who argued that perhaps there should not be a U.S. Marshal's office in Jamaica.
There's still no permanent replacement for Brenda LaGrange Johnson in Kingston as ambassador, U.S. ambassador. You think that this has something to do with the way the government has handled this? And two, Barack Obama. You told me earlier that you heard that he had been perhaps planning a trip to Jamaica and that has been put off.
Okay, well, two separate things. I said, if you go back to my writings, you go back to what I said back in August, said that there will be no U.S. ambassador until this court matter is resolved. I said that 8 months ago. I'm still saying it. Okay? Anybody who heard what I said, can go back and read what I said and listen to what I said. Okay, again, I was criticized vigorously at that time. Well, again, time has told. With respect, the Jamaican community in Florida supported Barack Obama for president. As you know, my colleague Marlon Hill was very involved in the process. I personally was involved. Many other Jamaican attorneys, businessmen went out of their way in critical times when there was still a close thing. When it was Clinton Obama neck and neck, we went out and we committed to Obama, and Obama is now president. And we were hoping for an Obama visit. And now the implication is it's unlikely that we'll get an Obama visit to Jamaica in the first term. And it's a huge waste.
Being considered?
It was being seriously considered, and we thought it would have occurred. It's a huge waste, again, after all the work that was done for this government to destroy the possibility of that visit with what can only be said to be rather pugilistic stubbornness on this Dudus matter. And again, I think that there should be a general election and that we should consider its political future.
So the